Inventory management is management of material. What material? Which include material planning, purchasing, receiving, stores, inventory control, and scrap disposal. These are the segments or sections that the material management gets divided into. I will just touch briefly into the different sections. Now let's start with materials planning. Now what does planning means? Now where does this planning come from? Or why was this planning introduced, or why was the planning required? Now planning was required because there was a forecast made by the sales department, a futuristic demand. When you say forecast, is a futuristic demand put forward by the sales and marketing department, and this was then handed over to the purchasing department, to the production department, who overlapped this forecast on the production capacity and came out with a master production schedule. This master production schedule was then handed over to the materials department, and because there was a need now for the materials department to act on the requirements of the production, they went and did a materials planning. Now what is planning? Materials planning is plan the requirements as per the schedule required by the production department. Then once this plan was confirmed and made, the requirements were then passed on to the purchasing department. What does the purchasing department do? Purchasing means to buy. Okay, it's not simple buy that we go down to a grocery store and buy material as and when required, but this needs to be a planned purchase. Then the whole process is a very planned process. Normally what they do is they find the market trends, they do market research, they do vendor evaluations, and once they have a correct source located, then they confirm a purchase order with him and send out the request. The same purchase order copy is being sent to the receiving stores or to the warehouse. Now once the material is delivered to the warehouse, the receiving part of the warehouse, there are two sections in the warehouse. One is the one specifying or specially receiving materials, the other handles the materials that come in. Now receiving materials, basically the people involved are loaders and quality control inspectors. Now what happens when these materials that come in on the loading door or the loading bay, they get offloaded, but prior to being offloaded, the purchase order is checked against the bill sent by the vendor, and if it matches, then the offloading takes place. Okay, as the offloading is going on, or when the offloading is over, the quality control man, he inspects the goods for damages, whether they are as per the right specification mentioned in the purchase order, or is there any deviation. Accordingly, the checking will go on, and then once checking is done and approval is made, it hands over to the stores or to the internal department of the store, who then will now place them according to the allocation or positions that they require to. Okay. After this, after the stores have done their job, the inventory control, also again it's in the warehouse itself, these people come into act. Now they will enter the records, they will check whether the quantity received is correct, and they'll update the records. After they have done that, they will issue to the production department as and when required by the production department, and subsequently if there were any damages or spoilages that took place during this process of offloading, loading and handling, the scrap would be evaluated, whether they could salvage anything from it or they will dispose it, but with a value gained on it. So there's another department which deals with scrap and surplus disposal.